For the last several months, I've been publicly journaling nearly every day. The Meditations of Marcus Aurelius were the original inspiration for this. While most forms of journaling have people recording a continuous flow of conscious thought, this form of journaling is very concise. It attempts to consolidate the most important information found throughout your day, or that you've reflected on throughout your day, into only a few brief lines. Lines easy enough to carry into the future, and call to memory when situated in relevant circumstances. Interestingly enough, I originally listened to meditations on audiobook, and that was what really got the ball rolling. Here I've created my own audiobook, for those who hope to listen on the go, or perhaps those who hope to gain more understanding through intonation and inflection. Without further ado, here are 100 journal entries. Number 1. Not every seed needs to take root. Enough seeds will form a mountain to move, and good seeds can feed someone until others blossom. Number 2. If you can't exist without other people, animals, or even insects, you can't be the most important thing. There's no reason to go on prioritizing yourself as number 1. You will be cared for if you attend to others, not yourself. Number 3. To a proper perspective, no obstacle is undesirable. Even a negative perspective is an opportunity to learn how to shape your perspective for times to come. Unless it kills you, everything is an opportunity for growth. Number 4. Better to love and be loved by no one than to be loved by everyone, but incapable of love. Number 5. Wisdom is knowledge understood without bias and utilized with intent. Number 6. If you knew you were going to die in a moment, you would savor this very moment. But you could die at any moment, so savor every moment. Number 7. You can find love for anyone if you can learn to empathize with them, and that requires knowing yourself. The seed of every evil and every good is rooted in each of us. Number 8. Before learning anything else, learn how the mind works. Through that, you learn how to learn and what things are worth learning. Number 9. Nothing you possess can be taken out of this world with you, so spend wisely, both money and time. Number 10. You can't be bought if your desire for material doesn't supersede your desire for virtue, so work to regulate desire. Number 11. To overcome the fear of death, you must overcome the love of self. To do that, you must experience the peace of selflessness. Number 12. We do not measure the value of life by its intelligence, desire, or control. In spite of spending our lives developing those qualities, we value other qualities more. The lives of children are considered especially sacred. Children are curious, simple, innocent, and malleable. Be childlike. Number 13. Refining your taste increases your capacity for suffering. Becoming pickier means becoming dissatisfied more easily. If you were truly present, you would realize it's all spectacular. Number 14. A Christmas special. Hope no one was naughty and everyone nice. It's not all right to be haughty. Ego is vice. Whether wealthy or poor, presents are stuff. In desiring more, nothing's enough. Better to give than receive. You get what you need. You train selfless action, not desire and greed. So turn attention to others and keep love handy. Not just sisters and brothers. The world is your family. Number 15. It's possible not to have an opinion. Opinions lead to disharmony, so with every opinion ask yourself, is this opinion improving my life and the lives of those around me? Fewer opinions are useful than not. Let go of useless opinions. Number 16. Don't sell your peace of mind. There are many little things which weigh the conscience down. Prioritizing profit, policies, white lies. How would only doing good feel? Obedience and money will never bring the joy of a clear conscience and happy heart. Number 17. Lean into discomfort. Muscles grow stronger, and so does the mind. Does something make you anxious, nervous, or scared? Face it repeatedly, and fear dissolves. Number 18. Thought responds to our environment. Some thoughts will only manifest while you're alone. Some thoughts will only manifest in the company of others. Nature, music, and aesthetics will all contribute to the thoughts we manifest. Regulate thought by regulating your surroundings. Number 19. The greatest expression of love is self-sacrifice. And this is what makes love the most powerful force in the world. Selfless love is undefeatable, for there's no desire to entice, no judgment to discriminate, and no self to motivate against it. Number 20. It would be tormenting to know everything. Much knowledge leads to fear, sadness, or judgment. Don't look to learn just anything. Learn what's worth learning. Number 21. It's often overlooked that love is cultivated. It's not enough to love what you're inclined to love when you can shape your mind so as to nurture love. Since you can learn to love everybody. Number 22. Thought patterns become habitual, and you can become habituated to negative or positive thinking. Like other habits, the people you're around will either support your habit or support breaking your habit. Association leads to habituation. Number 23. You don't have to identify with negative character traits. To say, I am picky, or I am an angry person, reinforces those qualities. You can acknowledge that you experience pickiness or anger, but recognize your capacity to change. Number 24. If you want to change the government, corporations, and society, you won't do it with legislation and policy. Those can always be manipulated by power and wealth. You have to change hearts. You have to make a world in which the people's beliefs will not allow them to prioritize money over morals, or themselves over others. Number 25. Live ready to answer what it was all for when your end comes. Number 26. I have not expressed the amount of love I could have expressed. I have not been the light I could have been. I don't get to live it all over again, and I could die tomorrow. I must be good today. Number 27. Past and future only exist in thought, while the present is all that's ever really here. It is useful to consider them as far as that allows you to maintain a lack of suffering in the present, but never so far as to create suffering through the expectation of future suffering or rumination on past suffering. Number 28. How will you ever become that kind of person if you've already decided you're this kind of person? Number 29. Constantly ask yourself, if I died in this next moment, would I be happy with how I'm spending this moment? Let death remind you of what's worth caring about and what's worth letting go of. Let it dissolve the little stresses. Let it prioritize your time and organize your mind. Number 30. Reaching for control leads to discontentment, since there's always more control to reach for. Letting go of control leads to contentment. 31. With regard to self-improvement, it's useful to view yourself as the amalgam of all external influences that is produced after those influences are filtered through your genetic predispositions and senses. Number 32. Grow in love with someone and they grow prettier. Grow to hate someone and they grow uglier. Our perceptions are shaped by the thoughts that we think. Number 33. What you can't handle takes you in death. If you're alive, you've been given something to bear. Number 34. Wanting to be loved by many makes you less lovable, and making yourself into what you think people want will not make you what people want. Just be genuine. Number 35. Repetition regulates the voice of conscience. Do hurtful things often and you won't find them as indecent. But turn away from selfish acts toward love, and you will strengthen the sound of conscience's voice. Number 36. Don't measure against the way things are, but the way things could be. Thinking about the best way to say something gets you closer to the right words. Thinking about the best way to react gets you closer to the right actions. And thinking about the best way life can be lived gets you closer to a life well lived. Number 37. Besides what's physically forced on you, everything is self-imposed. Even living is a choice. Embrace the life you've chosen, or change it. Number 38. Negative people are not taught a lesson by responding negatively to them. The world is reciprocal. Hatred does not stop hatred. Love replaces hatred. Number 39. So many of us are afraid to be alone in silence with ourselves. If you're bad company to yourself, you won't be good company to other people. Number 40. Attaining what you desire won't satisfy desire. Desire remains and fixes your attention on a new object of desire. It can only be starved. Number 41. Opinion is preference for a position between poles. Hot and cold, wealthy and poor, left and right, religious or irreligious, dead or alive, don't exist without relation to one another. And you can always use the pole you disfavor to be grateful for the pole you favor. Don't be weighed down by opinion. I'm happy for this cold, so that I can appreciate the warmth I've experienced and the warmth to come. Number 42. Overstimulation stifles imagination. New ideas only have room to spring forth in vacant space. Number 43. Real strength is remaining positive amidst a sea of negativity and welcoming in a world working to divide us. Number 44. To know self-sacrifice as the greatest form of love, and love as our only salvation, is all we need to know how to treat each other. Number 45. We acclimate to everything. So if we acclimate to pleasure, comfort, and control, we will be unhappy when we lack those luxuries. Regularly reacclimate yourself to discomfort, little, and uncertainty, and you will be more content in every circumstance. Number 46. We can all find contentment and love one another, if we only do the things necessary to train the right perspective for it. Number 47. Every moment of existence we are engaged in a battle for the soul of the world. With the outward ripple of not only every action but every thought, keeping our attention on authenticity, sincerity, and love will guide us in the best direction. Number 48. The intellectual who prioritizes study might one day wake up to realize they've worked against the path to contentment, while the child who lacks their conditioning remains more present and devoid of the distinctions which contribute to the learner's suffering. Number 49. Attachment is a hindrance. If you're attached to your things, you're likely to spend time protecting them rather than using them. If you're attached to yourself, you will seek to protect yourself, and you will not fully experience life because of identity, preference, and a fear of dying. Number 50. We often try to instill contentment by reaching goals, ensuring our comfort, or seeking pleasure, but contentment is already there. It's something that we find after shedding layers of our internal experience, such as desire, and you don't need anything external to do that. Number 51. Belief leads to action, and love frames the right perspective. We don't choose to believe something, just as we don't decide to love someone. Belief and love are both emotional states of being. However, through different efforts, we can instill love and inculcate belief. Therefore, if we inculcate a belief in love, we will act according to the right perspective. Number 52. If we live the most deeply introspective life in observation of the mind, no outside information is necessary for the purest wisdom. We learn what is most important in life, how to find contentment, and how to be our best selves from within. Though other sources can be used to shortcut and bolster our findings, much of it can confuse the process, and it takes a mind which is already aware to discern which information is valid or useful. Number 53. We are like a camera. We see what we direct our attention toward, and our perspective is shaped by the framing of those things. According to the vantage point, small things seem large things seem small, and some things might appear entirely different than they really are. Number 54. We all retain traits common to humankind, such as love, desire, and suffering. These are the root to all their outward manifestations, such as love of self, greed, and hatred for those we believe are a source of suffering. If we can find our way back to the root, we can find common ground and bring forth healthier characteristics in those we might have otherwise considered evil. Number 55. People accustomed to the mountains find beauty in the plains. People accustomed to the plains find beauty in the mountains. Nearly everything is beautiful when you don't have time to take it for granted. You don't have to leave home for long bouts of time to find beauty in it again. You have to learn how to look at things as if you were seeing them for the first time. Number 56. Anger is like a fire kindled by the fuel of our attention. If you want to put it out, stop tending the flame and direct your attention elsewhere. Number 57. Our perspective begins when something external reaches our physical senses. Then, those sensations are filtered through a conditioned mind with genetic predispositions, from which there results some emotional response, and then the thinking mind attempts to analyze the data and respond appropriately. But if we want an appropriate response, we have to hold this process close to heart. With different eyes, it would be seen differently. With different genes, we would process it differently. With a different culture, we would think and feel differently. Number 58. Love is wholly joyful and free from distress. It's attachment which isn't. We associate and confuse the two because they are often entangled and likely to grow simultaneously. But it's possible to strengthen one and temper the other. Number 59. Well-rooted trees grow toward the light. If someone is critical, ask yourself, is this true, and how is it useful? If it's true regarding something within your control, you have gained truth and can change for the better. If it's true regarding something outside of your control, it's an opportunity to develop acceptance and mental fortitude. If it's untrue, it's an opportunity to challenge your beliefs and become better at representing them. If it's a useless falsehood, it's still an opportunity to learn tranquility of mind and develop mental fortitude. You never have to be offended. Number 60. The only thing we can be sure we're right about is that we're going to be wrong. Moral condemnation is not ours to give. Love is. Number 61. Many morals lead people to demonize, ostracize, exile, or even murder those they perceive to be immoral. We need something which supersedes our concepts and interpretations, and that is love. True love will not lead us to fight our enemies, but to open-mindedness, understanding, and turning the other cheek. Number 62. Many of the truths we readily accept are not put to use when relevant. We have a blind eye turned to ourselves. Most of us know there is far more we don't know than we do know. Most of us know our experience is filtered through a subjective lens. Most of us agree it is wise and virtuous to withhold judgment. But when someone says something we disagree with, we fail to pause and reflect. Searching quickly for our rebuttal, we already begin to negatively interpret their character. Since one is blind, keep both eyes on yourself. Number 63. It requires work to put everything on the table and examine it under a microscope. But without guarding against it, we devolve into bias, judgment, and complacency. Every moment we should be thinking about how we're thinking of how we could perceive what we're perceiving differently, and thinking of the optimal way to do what we're doing. As you fall away from intentionality, seek love for motivation. Number 64. Hardship comes for each of us, so ready your expectations for all potential hardship. Nothing in this world truly belongs to you. If you remain ready to let go, you will free yourself from one of our greatest sources of suffering, clinging to what can easily be taken from you. Number 65. Our disposition and feelings spread like a virus. Even if your opinion doesn't change, you can be infected with the emotion of the opposition. We can develop immunity, however, by practicing detachment and by reframing our perspective. This should be done not with ourselves in mind, but with a better world in mind. Love your enemies. It is transmissible. Number 66. Love is expressed in many forms which appear contrary to its nature, often making it difficult to identify. Understanding someone means love might not be expressed the same for two different people, even if the love measures equally for each. Love might come in the form of distance, criticism, or even manipulation. If you don't think this is true, imagine how your love might manifest itself when dealing with an addict or talking a loved one off a ledge. Let love motivate us to work with reality in the most beneficial way, regardless of how that love appears, and keep our eyes open for love as the motive for seemingly unloving actions. Number 67. The conventional approach to creating a harmonious people focuses on the external in an attempt to make us all alike. But there is an alternative: becoming alike in non-attachment, love, and acceptance of the things which make us different. Number 68. We should not think of it as time we are trading, but experience. Be sure the experience you're receiving is worth the potential experiences you're exchanging it for. Number 69. We suffer opinions, we suffer expectations, we suffer ruminations. With no benefit, we are clinging to things outside of our control, and the only solution is to let go. If we don't know how, we should get busy learning, because our time is wasting away while death draws nearer. Number 70. What ratio of good action to bad action makes a good person? If goodness isn't determined by actions but intentions, what if someone paves the road to hell with good intentions? If it is some combination of action and intention, it is still the unanswerable question of what ratio makes a good person. Maybe we should rethink our labels and strive to free ourselves from such judgments if we wish to be good people. Number 71. We don't have to identify with something to find good in it. There is good in most ideologies, belief systems, and cultures that we should be looking for, or we will never know what wisdom inspired so many. Let us be guided by reason, not identification. Number 72. You always give me what I need when I do what I need to for you. You let me experience all I can bear before you lift me up. You reach the edge of my vision before drawing my attention back to you. You're all I can see, but I don't even notice you. I can feel you, but I can never touch you. You are neither there, nor are you not there. Who are you? Number 73. Without seeing clearly, we cannot properly see how to fix a problem. Lack of clarity might even cause us to see problems that aren't there. You have to change the inside to change the outside. You have to improve yourself to improve the world. And you need the right perspective to see how to shape perspective. Number 74. This property does not belong to me. These clothes do not belong to me. These words do not belong to me. This mind does not belong to me. I do not belong to me, but everyone belongs, and I belong to everyone. Number 75. We change each other with every moment we spend together. Those who change you will change others through you, and those you change will likewise change others. Over the course of 1,000 years, the little life you lived will have impacted the whole of humanity. Be careful of your association. Change intentionally, and be the change people need, not the change they're looking for. Number 76. Contentment isn't found in asceticism, self-denial, or hedonism, self-indulgence. Both are clinging. Contentment is found by touching the two extremes, getting to know our mind through varied experience, and training perspective accordingly. It is good to fast, and it is good to feast, but we must undergo one to fully experience the other. Number 77. Judgments about one another are not always so conspicuous as to be moral judgments or worthiness judgments. Judgments come in the form of concepts we apply to each other, such as identity. We say to ourselves, they are this kind of person or that kind of person. But when we do this, we deny our capacity for change, when we're actually changing with every moment and every experience. Friends, family, and a society that treated everyone with this consideration would be an aid and support to self-improvement, rehabilitation, and rehabituation. Let's not box each other in. Whether it's 2 months of a new routine or one dramatic experience, we can emerge anew. Number 78. We can be dragged along by life, telling ourselves we're strong for the things we've gone through, or we can face our obstacles with self-improvement in mind, intentionally handling each circumstance in the most optimal way we can think of, truly becoming stronger. Number 79. If we maintain love and acceptance, and someone in our life doesn't reciprocate, it's time to move on, or risk being changed for the worse. We don't owe anyone our quality of mind, and love isn't hard to come by. Love is there for those who love. Acceptance isn't hard to come by. Those who judge less are less judged. Number 80. Atheist, Hindu, Christian, Buddhist, Muslim. It doesn't matter to know why love matters. It matters to know it does. It matters to recognize it and to learn how to nurture it. Number 81. Comfort isn't contentment. The fulfillment of want only trains the habit of pursuing want, but want is dissatisfaction with our current circumstance, and therefore a degree of suffering. Contentment won't come through pleasure, control, or comfort. Contentment comes from letting go of want and our attachment to these things. Number 82. We know we live in a world of interdependence. Plants need nutrients from the soil. Animals need nutrients from the plants. Both plants and animals die and decay into the nutrients they consume. Likewise, your mind lives in interdependence with the world. You become like your environment, and your environment becomes like you. Number 83. What would you pay to be able to see twice as much with the same eyes? Hear twice as much? Feel twice as much? Smell twice as much? What is it worth to you to perceive reality twice as clearly as those around you? Your mind is capable of this. but the price is effort. Number 84. Imagine spending all day looking at the most negative information you could find. Wars, crime, pollution, bigotry, and poverty. How would you feel? Now imagine spending all day looking at the most positive information you could find. Stories of heroism, charity, random acts of kindness and love. Finally, imagine spending a whole month consuming all of one or the other and how you would come out the other side. Every increment from negative to positive is developing your opinion of the world and altering your emotional state. Don't consume without your future psychology in mind. Number 85. First, learn to be present. You can spend your time getting a degree, a house, a family, and working toward accomplishments you find meaning in. But what good is a fulfilling job or a loving family if you can't cherish the moment? Time can be lost to an occupied mind, regardless of its accomplishments. Only once you learn to be pleased with a single blade of grass or the sound of the wind and feel at peace with your existence will you be able to fully appreciate these other things. Number 86. Wisdom is not a result of age. It is the result of experience processed with comprehension. Time is not a measure of how much a person experiences, and an abundance of experience is not indicative of comprehension. Learn, introspect, change, and explore if you wish to become wise. Number 87. I can do more, I can reach more, I can teach more. There is truth left unspoken, there are people left untouched. There is a world in need of change, yet solutions aren't enough. The greatest obstacle remains: motivating people to care. Number 88. Because you are relegated to your own separate consciousness, because you can't escape yourself to peer into your external reality, you can never truly know anything. You're always confined to likelihood, an interpretation formed by concepts and perception, mental constructs, not reality. Keep this in mind with every conversation and in every opinion or judgment you form, as your wellspring for humility. Number 89. Your mind is a reservoir for the reason and imagination it naturally produces, but it's easily filled with external sources, conditioning, and noise. As it fills, its inborn resources sink to the bottom, and if you wish to reach them, you will either have to dive deep or empty it of the refuse, displacing what is useful. Number 90. What is the cost of expressing love, and why do we withhold it from people we don't know? Who does it help to treat strangers with suspicion and reservation? Love gives back to those who show it, and wily people will try to get what they want either way, while a barrier is formed between you and others. In a sea of love, the wily one themselves might change, having been given what they needed through the kindness of others. Instead of starting everyone off in the negative, let's develop a common love of man and show it to everyone around us. Number 91. Your mind is like the ocean. Man is ready to shoot for the stars before he even knows what's under the surface of his own planet. Number 92. Desire is the root of motivation. We each have a degree of desire following us around at all times, attaching itself to those things it finds captivating. If you are motivated to be productive, your desire is likely fixed elsewhere, such as vice. While training attention to fix it at will is the ultimate goal, repositioning desire is sometimes as simple as suffering through those things you don't want to do until you want to do them. Number 93. There's joy to be found for every moment. Against all probability, you are here, now, existing. Maybe everything is going wrong right now, but what if you were only alive for this moment? What would you give just to experience this moment of existence? What would any moment of experience be worth to you if it's all you got? We fuss and worry over the things happening within our experience as if it would be better to die, when we would all give anything to exist for but a moment in this colorful consciousness as only a fly on the wall to the woes of the world. Number 94. Hatred is never useful for making a better world. It is a measure of suffering portioned out to all those unwilling to let go. If you can't find love for your worst enemy, you are not yet the person your world needs. Number 95. Experience often comes at the cost of safety, and the safest life would be far different from the most experiential life. Greater safety does not equate to more happiness. Statistical safety is logistical tyranny, and safety can constrict happiness as easily as boost it. Number 96. There's less to undermine virtue than there is to undermine hedonism. Though one might have more proponents and followers, the other is self-contained and can remain an island for the sake of itself. Virtue is inexhaustible and unexploitable. To act virtuously will always be the right way to respond. Number 97. Our judgments against one another are far harsher than they would be if some other object were the cause of them. Stub your toe on a rock, and you move on with your day. But someone steps on your toe, and it's, what is the matter with them? Why weren't they paying attention? When they could have been as blind to you as the rock. We're biased against one another with greater expectations. But those expectations lead us to judge and treat our fellows worse than we would an inanimate object or an animal. Let's assume the best intentions. Expect nothing, and be pleasantly surprised when people have a positive impact. Number 98. If I were to be plucked from this world right now, I would rather be caught doing something for someone else than enjoying anything selfishly. Number 99. We are fitted with greater will and determination for causes bigger than ourselves. People can be far more motivated to save the world than change themselves. Yet, it is changing ourselves that saves the world. Number 100. What can one soul do to change the world? More than the world would like you to know. Light is attractive and draws us out from darkness. Let us be beacons of virtue, positivity, and love. If put out in the open, a lonely candle can light a room, and its single flame can ignite the flames of many more.